asterisk top one spark, and everything could change. The world is breathing under a silent pressure, one that the ordinary eye may not even notice. But this silence isn't peace, it's the stillness before a storm gathering immense force beneath the surface. This is a moment where words fall short and signals speak louder, where decisions are made behind closed doors. Yet their consequences reshape millions of lives: the United States, Israel, and Iran. These are not just three countries. They represent three distinct worldviews, three centers of power, and three conflicting ideologies. And when ideologies collide, it's not just borders that shift, history itself begins to bend. This tension isn't new. It is rooted in decades of layered conflict that has only grown more complex and volatile over time. The Iranian Revolution of 1979 was not merely a political transition. It was a seismic shift that redefined the balance of power across the Middle East. A new system emerged, one that diverged sharply from Western frameworks. It didn't just transform Iran internally. It reshaped its relationships with global powers. Trust gave way to suspicion, and that suspicion only deepened with time. Iran's nuclear program became a defining chapter in this story. It was no longer just about energy or scientific advancement. It evolved into a question of power, security, and survival. For the United States and Israel, it signaled a potential threat. For Iran, it represented sovereignty and deterrence. This fundamental contradiction intensified the divide, pushing the situation further into uncertainty. Science teaches us that when opposing forces continue to build pressure within a confined space, there comes a point where the release of energy becomes inevitable. That principle echoes here. Years of sanctions, economic strain, diplomatic isolation, and constant surveillance have created a system where every action provokes a reaction, and every reaction compounds the pressure. But perhaps the most complex layer of this conflict is that it is no longer purely visible. It has evolved into a shadow war. Proxy groups, covert operations, cyber attacks, and information warfare have become the new battlegrounds. Here, fewer bullets are fired, but far more messages are sent. And often, those messages carry consequences far more dangerous than anything seen on an open battlefield. Each nation is acting to secure its own interests and protect its future. Yet in doing so, those same actions are perceived as threats by others. It creates a cycle that is incredibly difficult to break, especially when trust has nearly vanished. And once trust erodes, every intention is questioned, every move is seen through the lens of suspicion. Human psychology plays a critical role in moments like this. When fear takes control, decisions are no longer purely rational. They become emotional, and emotional decisions often ignore long-term consequences. This is where small miscalculations can spiral into irreversible disasters. Global analysts often describe this as a high-risk geopolitical tension, but that phrase barely captures the full reality. Because the real danger isn't just war. It's the ripple effects, energy crises, economic instability, disrupted supply chains, and above all, the cost of human lives. These are the true stakes of this unfolding tension. This situation reflects a fundamental scientific truth. Every action has a reaction. But when that chain of action and reaction spirals out of control, the entire system begins to collapse under its own weight. That is the fragile point at which the world now stands. And yet, within all this complexity, there is another truth. The human one, the ordinary people who are not part of these decisions, yet bear their consequences the most. The mother worried about her children's future. The young person dreaming of stability and peace. The worker simply trying to live a quiet, dignified life. Their voices are often drowned out by the noise of power and strategy. This tension is not just political or military. It is deeply human. Because when conflict erupts, it does not remain confined to battlefields. It enters homes, it settles into hearts, and it leaves scars that last for generations. As time moves forward, one question grows louder. Is there still a path to reduce this pressure? Can there be a moment where wisdom outweighs power, where trust begins to replace fear? History has warned us repeatedly. When powers stand face to face and trust disappears, outcomes rarely remain under control. A single spark, a miscalculation, an unexpected reaction, and everything can change. This is where the world stands today, on the edge of uncertainty. Every step now demands precision and restraint, because the margin for error has become dangerously thin. And perhaps the most important reminder in all of this is that power was never meant for destruction. It was meant for protection, that scientific progress should not exist to create fear, but to improve life, and that the true strength of humanity lies not in dominance, but in empathy and understanding. Yet the question still remains. If this pressure continues to build, if this silent tension keeps accelerating, will anyone be able to stop it? Or has the world already reached a point where turning back is no longer an option? The question is open, and the answer belongs to time. But time does not always wait. Sometimes, it simply delivers the outcome.